Hi everyone, happy Tuesday. I am still sick, believe it or not. This has just hung on. I thought I was going to get to go to the gym today, and um, it's not happening. Kind of makes me sad. I wanted to go work out and start working on things, but I'm still kind of congested and trying not to it's evidently influenza. And that's why I wasn't broadcasting on Tuesday or Wednesday or Thursday last week. I'm just now starting to feel human again. So hopefully by the end of the week, I will be back to 100%. I do not like being sick. I usually laugh and say that I don't have time for this. And I guess I should just be thankful that I'm sick in August when I'm not freezing rather than in December when it could have messed up my holidays, right? Um, so I wanted to talk a little bit about how to tell if you have a good bookkeeper or an accountant. And I think this is important. I talk to a lot of people and then I go and I review books and they are just absolutely a mess. And the people that, the client that thinks that their accountant was doing a great job. And a lot of times it takes a long time for bad practices to show up. So I wanted to give you some ways to be able to tell if your bookkeeper or accountant, and it could be a CPA, if they are no good. If they have a degree in accounting, they should be able to command six figures very easily, actually. Accounting is the only time they should not be commanding six figures is if they've just hung out their shingle and they're going into business for themselves. Um, I had a long talk with a friend of mine who she has master's degrees in accounting, and I think very highly of her, and I really respect her opinion. And because she has advanced accounting degrees, she has a master's. She has not gotten her sat for the CPA exam. She simply chose not to because she wants to serve the small business market rather than the big business market. Usually smaller businesses, especially startups and mom and pop shops, really don't have a lot of money to pay top dollar for a bookkeeper or an accountant. But if you have someone who has a degree in accounting who actually does full charge accounting, and they are not making six figures, you might want to look into why. I won't say that I mean, they may be new to the industry. You know, kind of, I don't have a degree in accounting, and I can usually get pretty close. But then again, you know, I'm self-employed. I have to work extra hard to bring in my clients, and I haven't even bothered getting an office yet. Maybe eventually. Um, so if they are, you know, if they're coming to you and they are not in the six figures, you might want to find out why. Another way of, you know, kind of a red flag is if they scaremonger. And I have a problem with scaremongering kind of in general. I don't like watching the news because so much of it these days is fear-based. There's so much of, you know, oh my gosh, the sky is falling, and if you let your child outside out of your sight for 2 seconds, they're going to die. And I'm just like, people, there is risk in everything. You could have the most perfect set of books, and there's still a chance that the IRS could audit you. So it's kind of the way it is. It's a bit of a challenge. You have to kind of weigh things out. And what you want to do is you want to maximize your refund, of course, if you're getting one. You want to minimize your tax burden. And I personally believe it is the patriotic duty of every American, and I'm probably going to get flack for this, to minimize their tax burden. I really do. I think that we should be paying as little in taxes as possible, but we should be paying everything that we're supposed to pay. So if you're a small business owner and you have deductions, you should be taking your deductions as long as it maximizes your refund. Now there kind of comes a tipping point. It's like a bell curve. You want to kind of hit the top of the curve. And that curve is going to be different for everyone. I mean, if you're a Warren Buffett, you want to pay as little in taxes as you can. So you want to maximize your deductions. But if you're a small business owner, you may want to be hitting the top of this bell curve where you can maximize your refund. And that is something that you're going to want to talk to your tax preparer about. That is also something that I try to help my clients with, is to sit them down and explain, well, if you make this much money, you may not want to write everything off. You may be hitting that point, or maybe we want to depreciate some of it rather than expense it. But if you have someone that comes in and basically says, oh my gosh, you're going to go to jail because your last bookkeeper did such a crappy job on your books, they're probably not very good. They're probably relying on these scare tactics to basically scare you into signing with them. I do not use scare tactics at all. I know that I know my stuff, and I know what I don't know. I don't know everything I don't know, but I do know when someone asks me a question, I have no problems basically saying, well, I don't know, but let me find out and I'll get back to you. And that is really what I think a professional would do. So it's not, oh my gosh, you've got to sign with my service or you're going to go to jail because the IRS is going to audit you and they're going to take your house and they're going to take your cars and they're going to take all of your stuff. They're going to close your business and they're going to take your wife and kids. I don't do that. Why? Because I don't need to. I can talk to my clients about, well, you want to sign with my service because as your business grows, you're going to want to know what your reports say, and I will explain your reports to you, and I'm going to go over with them frequently, go over them with you so that we're on the same page, so that you know what your business is doing, because nothing else happens until you know what your business is doing. You can't make any decisions about your business till you know what your business is doing. Now, I'm hoping September 1st is the big day that I'll be returning to school to finish my degree. And as I work through my degree program, probably about halfway through as it is. But as I wrap it up, I'm sure that, like I said, I don't know everything I don't know. There will be things that come up, and I really want to do a lot with budgeting and forecasting and tax planning, and even though I don't like taxes, but I can talk, if I, as I get to know the tax laws better than the quick and dirty H&R Block course, I can really start to delve in deep with my clients and tell them, okay, if I was you, I would, you need to increase your expenses in this category to maximize your deductions. I really want to be able to do that, but I don't have to put the fear of the IRS or anybody else into my clients. Excuse me, like I said, I'm still not quite well yet. I can't wait to be well again. I do not like being sick. Being sick is absolutely the worst, and I wish that was water and not Diet Coke. Diet Coke's kind of my poison of choice, but when I start saying, it's 7:30, when I start saying, gee, I wish that was water, I must be sick. Sorry, squirrel. So that's two things. One is, if they're not really making enough money. I do know that attorneys, if they go into business for themselves, they can struggle because no one ever wants to hire an attorney. But they should be able to get a job, unless they're doing family law or they're doing something similar. They should be able to get a job making really good money. Accounting's kind of the same way. Everybody needs an accountant. If you're in business, you need an accountant, or you need a bookkeeper, or both. And so if they're not making good money, then they are probably not very good at business. And if they're not good at business, do you want them taking care of your business books? See what I mean? Now, they may have a reason for not making a lot of money. They may, you can ask them, How many clients do you have? My answer would be, I only have a few right now. I am just starting out on my own from my previous job. And so I haven't really done a lot of marketing to build a clientele. And because I'm going back to school, I don't need a whole lot of clients. There you go. There's a reasonable explanation. Um, but I also don't have a CPA license. I don't have a degree. I have a lot of certifications and study, but I haven't put any effort into it. And I kind of tell people that, right now, I don't want a whole lot of clients because I'm making some changes in my life. If they have a reason why, then, that's understandable. I hope this is making sense. It makes sense to me. But at the same time, even I, without a degree, I can command $85,000 to $90,000 a year without any problem. I can go into a company tomorrow, and I couldn't do it in a small business setting, and I prefer to work with small businesses. But I would prefer to have a bunch of small businesses, but I can, at the same time, I have the skills and ability to go to a larger business and command six figures without a problem. So, I kind of mentioned that because I have had, as I've done hiring for my company, I've had CPAs come in and, they say, oh yeah, I have my degree and I have my CPA license. And I go, why are you applying a job with me? Because my thing says bookkeepers. It doesn't say accounting. It doesn't say CPAs. It says bookkeeping. And that is, a high school diploma. That's about all that requires. So if you're that overqualified, why are you applying for a bookkeeping job? People with master's degree in accounting should not be doing basic bookkeeping. That shouldn't be their job. It may be their business, but that shouldn't be their job. If you have a CPA degree, a certified public accountant does not typically do bookkeeping unless they are not good at what they do. Certified public accountants are supposed to certify reports, financial reports, prepare taxes, and represent their clients before the IRS. They are not meant to be bookkeepers. If you have a CPA as a bookkeeper, you're paying them too much, by the way. So that's one of my things, is to look at, if you're coming at me and you're making $18,000 a year, you're making a tenth of what you should be if you have a CPA license. And a CPA is a license. It is not a certification. It is a special, it's like passing the bar exam for an attorney, or passing your boards if you're a doctor. It is like, you accept that you can be an accountant without passing the CPA exam. And the CPA exam is all about taxes. It's about large corporations. It's not so much about small businesses. So you want to make sure that your hires are suitable for your needs. Now, if you have a small business, you may want to have a CPA on staff to review your financials. But at the same time, if you have an excellent bookkeeper or an excellent accountant that may or may not have those letters after their names, I will be getting mine when I get my degree. Because, and I'll tell you why, because I get so tired of people, they get kind of dazzled by degrees. It's funny. I know more about accounting on the small business level. I don't know a lot about it at the multinational level, but I do know an awful lot about it at the small business level, and that's where I want to be. And yet I have people go, well, do you have a CPA? Why would I? I talked in one of my videos about the different roles that different professionals play in the accounting world. And so I am now, thinking I'll go ahead and sit for the CPA exam because I take tests really well, and I should be able to pass it with no problem, because people they get dazzled by degrees. It's not enough to say, oh, I have a degree in accounting. You have to say, I sat for the certified public accountant exam, which has nothing to do with your business. And again, if you have someone who says they have 20 years as a CPA and they're making peanuts you might want to look into why. And there may be reasons. There may be personal reasons, but you do want to look into why. Why are they not making any money with a degree that valuable? My dad is an entomologist. He has a master's degree in entomology. For those of you that don't know, because it is kind of a weird word, it's the study of insects. He specialized in a very specific species of weevil. And that's what his master's thesis is on, this one specific species of weevil. And his degree is so specialized that he didn't expect to make a lot of money with it. He ended up making good money with it, first through a pest control business, through being a health inspector for the Seattle King County Health Department, and then through the Army. He was able to create a lot of value with that degree. But that's a very specialized degree. Not everybody needs to know about this particular species of weevil. Not everybody really wants to know about insects. In the Army, he would go into different parts of the world and he would meet with the doctors. He worked in the medical division. And he would tell them, okay, in this part of the world, these are the insects that are disease-carrying, and these are the diseases that you need to be aware of. This is what they look like. That's kind of what he would do. But, you know, it takes a lot of talent to parlay a master's degree in entomology into a successful career. My dad was able to do it. If you have an accounting degree, everybody needs an accountant. Everybody needs an accountant. If they own a business, they need an accountant. If they own money, if they have money, if they want money, if they pay taxes, they need an accountant. So, you know, if you have someone that claims to have years of experience as a CPA and they don't make any money, you want to investigate why. And I spent way too long on that topic. I do kind of want to go back to the scaremongering because that's a huge red flag for me. Excuse me. I can't wait to do these videos again when I'm not coughing and sneezing and congested. I was going to go to the gym today and decided that, you know, breathing would be really a good start. So scaremongering. What do I mean by scaremongering? Well, bookkeeping is a very competitive field because a lot of people, a lot of women, and I don't mean to let the guys off the hook either, feel like, oh, I can run QuickBooks, therefore I can be a bookkeeper. That's not necessarily true, and I am the first one to tell you that QuickBooks is very user-friendly. The desktop version is user-friendly. The online version is user-friendly. The downside to it is it's so easy to use, it's also so easy to mess up. And if you don't know how to find your checks and balances, it's very easy to mess it up. It's easy to mess it up even with naming accounts because you can name them whatever you want. It's very easy to screw it up. I'm sorry, pardon my language. Pardon the coughing. So a lot of times it gets to be kind of a cutthroat profession because a lot of people think, well, you know, if I can type numbers into QuickBooks, I can be a bookkeeper, right? That's not necessarily the case. So you have these girls, and they are by and large girls, at least here in Utah they are. Partly because the guys have invested the time and the energy to go get the advanced degrees. And for those of you out there who are more leftist, a little bit more left of center, part of the reason that the women, at least here in Utah, I can't speak for women everywhere, I can only speak for myself. I went into computer science. That was my original major. And the reason I didn't finish was that I had 3 little gifts that came to me, and each of them, yeah, they're Krista, Logan, and Andrew. And then just when I thought I was going to get back, each of them, you know, it takes a year for a woman to have a baby. They say 9 months, but really it's sometimes 2 or 3 years. So I got pregnant, went through morning sickness, went through all the discomfort of pregnancy, nursed my baby, tried to go back to work, was expecting again, went through all that again. So it'd be about 2 years per baby, and I think my first 3 were 2 or 3 years apart. And then I had a hiatus where I thought I was done. And I was starting to go back to school, and by the time I got back to school for computer science, the whole field had changed. And so I was like, oh, I have to start over. I have to learn object-oriented programming instead of Pascal and BASIC. It's a whole different ballgame. And the web was, popular. And so then I'm trying to go back and relearn some of the concepts that weren't existent when I took computer science the first time. Then I had 2 more kids. So that's another 5 years gone. And then I decided I was going to do something entirely different, that maybe that didn't require a degree. And now we have these wonderful online degrees that the school I'm going to is a nonprofit school. It's very highly regarded, and most institutions now offer online degrees. It's awesome. So now we can do all this, and it's not such a big deal. It's no big deal if I can't make it to campus. I can just do it all from home. So if you're wondering why I don't have a degree, it's because I had kids instead. And that's really a lot of the reason why the guys are able to go out and they're able to get their advanced degrees. It's because they don't have interruptions. They don't have their entire life disrupted every time a baby comes along. And the ladies do. So with scaremongering, again, you have anybody can become a bookkeeper. It doesn't require any specific certification. It doesn't require anything more than the most basic accounting knowledge. But that doesn't mean that just because someone says, oh, I'm a bookkeeper, it doesn't mean they're any good. I have had clients tell me that they'd hired a bookkeeper, and they would go in and they would ask them to account for something, and then the bookkeeper would be Googling how to do it. And I would kind of chuckle and go, well, that's kind of how I learned too. But it also makes it very easy for the next bookkeeper to come in and say, oh, your bookkeeper doesn't know what they're doing. I found that most of the time it's a difference in style. If you have one bookkeeper that wants every single bill that's ever paid out put in through accounts payable, they want to enter it into QuickBooks as a bill so that it sits out there, and the next one comes along and goes, well, I'll just do it as a check and I can save myself a step. That's just a difference in style. So you need to be kind of aware that sometimes when these girls come in and they say, oh, your last bookkeeper was awful, is it a difference in style or is it a difference in accounting? And it could be that she really didn't know what she was doing, or it could be that the new one doesn't know what she's doing and she's trying to make the old one look bad. So you kind of have to watch for that, because it's really easy, it's very easy in this industry to badmouth the person that came before you to make yourself look good. If I tell a client, your previous bookkeeper didn't know what she was doing, I will back it up with facts and examples and PowerPoint if I have to. Because I'll look at it and I go, okay, I see where she could have come up with that, but do you see how this threw off your profit and loss? And this is why you're having problems at, understanding what's going on in your business. So if they can't back it up, if they're just saying, oh, your last bookkeeper just didn't know what she was doing, they need to back it up and go, okay, well, maybe she didn't quite understand the difference between expensing and depreciating. Lots of bookkeepers don't. So she expensed this. We need to change this. I mean, there's nothing in QuickBooks that can't be changed, by the way. If one of my clients finds a mistake, and it happens, I mean, I'm human, And I just signed a client last week, and he said, well, she was making a lot of mistakes. And I said, well, I'm not going to make rookie mistakes. But if you see something that you think should be categorized differently, we're going to be having these conversations fairly regularly, because I want to be able to defend my decision, and I also want you to be able to defend your position, so that maybe I will go, oh, well, I understand why you wanted to do it this way. We'll do it your way. Or maybe I will say, according to my classes, according to the training that I have, it really needs to be done the way I did it, and this is why. And I really am huge about backing up what I say with an explanation. If I can't explain something, I really don't like to talk about it. And they say that those who can't do teach, but really, if you're teaching, and that's really what I do with my clients, is I do their books, and then I teach them why I do it the way I do it, and what they need. And so, the fastest way to really learn something thoroughly is to coach and to teach. Another way of knowing if you've got a really crappy bookkeeper, they're not coachable. And by that, I mean, I've worked with bookkeepers, and now I have years of experience. I have been doing books in QuickBooks since QuickBooks started developing a market share in 1998. Oh, that's another way you can tell. I have had bookkeepers say, well, I have 25 years of experience with QuickBooks, and I go, QuickBooks has only had 20 years on the market. So how can you have 25 years of experience in QuickBooks? QuickBooks developed market share. I mean, Intuit bought the name in 1997. They started really developing market share in 98 and 99. So if you have someone that says, oh, I have 25 years worth of experience in QuickBooks, QuickBooks wasn't around 25 years ago. So there's another red flag for you. Pay attention. I can tell you, I was working with QuickBooks in 98 and 99. Well, especially 99 and 2000. And I really was introduced to it and started working with it more in depth in 99. This is 2017. I have 18 years of experience with QuickBooks. I don't go telling people I have 25 years of experience. I don't. Prior to that, I was a mom. That was my full-time job. And I was trying to go to school full-time and raise my kids full-time and work full-time. Sleeping got kind of left out of the equation. So that's one of the red flags. I will kind of round it up and go, yeah, I have about 20 years of experience, and I do. But a lot of it is, if they start saying, oh, I've been working with QuickBooks for 25 or 30 years, kind of go back and do the math. I've been working with QuickBooks since 99, but I haven't consistently worked with QuickBooks since 99. I took kind of a big break, and then in 2008 was when I started really, really, really focusing on QuickBooks, and I still have my 06 QuickBooks and my 07 QuickBooks and my 08 QuickBooks. So, that's been long enough as it is. That's 12 years. 11 years? This is 2017. It's been 11 years. So I really focus on the past 10 years because that's when I have the most experience, but I do have experience in QuickBooks going back to 99. So if I have someone saying, well, I have more experience in QuickBooks than you do, it's kind of not physically possible because QuickBooks wasn't on the market. Now they may say, I have bookkeeping experience. They may have. That's another thing. If they're exaggerating the length of time that they have been doing books, especially if it's, if they specify QuickBooks. I usually just kind of say I've been doing it a long time. But the fact is, I did work with QuickBooks in '99. That's when I first learned the program. I really started using it in '06. And I can back that up. If they are just trashing the person that worked with you before, and especially if you were happy with them. If you were happy with them and they left for personal reasons or they left for other reasons, and your new bookkeeper comes in and says, oh, they messed it up. They messed it up royally. It was awful. They just messed everything up. That kind of falls in the scaremongering part. And any of those things, especially a combination of them, always really sets off red flags. I don't care how good they are if they're doing those things, because that tells me they're not secure in their abilities. And I want someone who knows that they know what they're doing. Also, you need to know that they have a system. And then over time, you need to know that your books are taken care of. They need to be willing to go back and fix. I just recently found out that QuickBooks Online was importing all this information from another program. And I just realized that, oh, I just figured out what this problem is, that I knew there was a problem and I couldn't figure out what it was. And there wasn't anything on Google to help me figure it out. Finally figured it out. And I'm actually putting in extra hours with this client to make sure that his books are completely correct, because I can't stand the idea of not knowing how it's supposed to be. Anyhow, those are some of the red flags that I personally look for. This is getting to be an awfully long video, and partly it's because I'm sick and I'm rambling. And I shouldn't be. I think I'm going to come back and revisit this tomorrow, and hopefully I'm going to be feeling better about it. The scaremongering really gets to me. The scaremongering really, really, really bugs me. When someone says, oh, this person that you thought was doing a great job really wasn't doing a great job, you should be able to know by looking at your reports if they look reasonably correct. So, and I really hate people who trash talk other people. I really, really do. It's not one of my favorite things. I have more passive aggressive ways. I'm just kidding. So that's about it for tonight. I am going to finish working on what I was working on, and then I'm probably going to go to bed early to try to get rid of what's left of this. I think it's turning into bronchitis, and I really don't want that. But again, if I have to be sick, I guess it's better to be sick in August than to possibly mess up my holidays. So maybe I'm just getting this over and I'm ahead of the curve. Have a wonderful afternoon and evening, and I will talk to you tomorrow. Bye.